Oktoberfest?
Okay, so everything is pretty well lined up with permits, OLCC, bouncy houses. I'm going to get the banner to put up. The biggest thing that we need help with every year and is keep September 17th available so that you can help and just pour beer. We don't have as much need as we used to for volunteers because we don't do food, and that's at least half of what we did before. So it's not going to be that bad with just one day, but please keep that open. And then if you can, the next Sunday morning too, because we need cleanup help with that. We do hay bales, straw bales there, and that cleanup there takes 2 hours. And we usually start right at 9 o'clock, and we try to have it done before the 11 a.m. open for Wild Ride. So just kind of keep those days open if you can. But the most important thing of all of this, the only way we make money is if you guys get silent auction items. Everything else is just to get people there for the silent auction. We make nothing really on the beer. I mean, we make like $2,500. We do all right with the sponsorships, and I'm still working on getting those all lined out. We make pretty decent money on those, but the silent auction is 100% profit. And so last weekend, I took some people floating on the river below my house. Last year, one of the certificates that I did was float for 4 people that I provide all the floaties and beverages, vehicles, and shuttling and all that. And that sold for $300 last year. And then I took one of the guys sage rat hunting that bought it last year too, and that was $400. That cost me nothing to do. If there's things that you like doing, all we need is a certificate of something cool to do that you can that you can do with other people, and those sell for crazy money. And they cost you nothing. They cost you just being with somebody for a day, doing something you like to do. It's the most valuable thing you can provide, and for everybody. And the reality is, if everybody can create through some thinking like that, $500 worth of value to give us, we're going to be way beyond what we need. But that's where you can go ask people around town, this and that. That helps. But the reality is those people are going to give you probably $50 worth of this and that, and it does help. If you can come up with something that's creative that you're going to be able to provide, some gardening skills, helping people with clearing their property. There's a lot of fire-wise issues right now. Everybody just got a bunch of letters in the mail that said that their homes are in extreme fire risk categories. If you're somebody that knows something about helping with fire-wise and getting somebody, getting their land cleared, that's something to offer. So, just think about it. That's where we're going to make our money. Everything else is just going to be showing up and making sure that we can get them to spend money on the silent auction. And now that it's online, we just do amazing. So if I can encourage anything over the next month and a half, Heather is our point of contact there. She's putting everything online. So, and me as well. You can bring things to me and I'll take them to Heather. But we just need to get going with that kind of thing and keep your schedule open, and we'll be golden. So, and Energy Youth Basketball, I will remind that they're going to be there again. They're our main title beneficiary. We co-brand with them, co-market with them. They're going to have 4 people on site at a time, 2 people for the bouncy houses, and 1 person for their little booth, and 1 person for the basketball hoops set up, so they'll be there again this year. And we have Sleepless Truckers and a version of Countryfied all lined out for music this year, and everything's finalized with incredible events. They're all set up. I think the only thing I have left is getting the banner ready so that it's out there for the Wild Ride always has their big motocross event where they have the jumps out and whatnot. We try to get the banner up for that. So that's August 25th.
What was the date?
September 17th. And we went 1 week later this year. Part of the concept, we don't want to go too late that it starts getting cold and we have to deal with rain. But we were finding that earlier we were pushing into September, the more we were dealing with smoke. So we kind of felt like that was the in-between zone to maybe miss the smoke. And this year it doesn't seem like, fingers crossed, the smoke will be an issue. But
the other thing, I have no skills or talent or anything to offer. Just saying.
Yes, you do.
Well, yeah.
You don't know how to bicycle and know some nice trails. You
Yeah.
posted something about bicycling.
I could take people on a a beer walk or something. Well, all I was going to say with that is we did have some pretty good success with creating baskets at the Vintners dinner.
Yep.
And so those, you know, we pooled our money. We actually had $400, about $400 contributed by members, and then we went out and I think we put together 3 or 4 baskets or something like that, and that created some interest.
And you can get things donated from each of these little. It's
Yeah,
just you're going to
so-
get usually
yeah.
about $50 or less
Yeah.
worth of value if they.
Yeah.
But you can pool them, put them in, and we've done that
Yeah.
lots in the past, and it works
Yeah.
out really good.
Yeah, well, and then it's nice to have price points, so
Mhm.
some people will have that $400,000 or $500,000 that they're willing to bid, and others are just after the, you know, gift certificate or
Yeah.
something. But what are some of the, like, items that you think this audience would really go for, like?
Everything, because everybody's there. I mean, if somebody will give you a certificate, it's going to do well. Hunting, fishing,
Outdoorsy
sports,
Golfing.
beer. I mean, everything. There's something. It really should be whatever. I personally think anything that somebody's passionate about, they should pursue because they're going to get more of it, and they shouldn't worry about the people that they don't understand because they're not going to get the. You know, if everybody gets what they're interested in, we're going to get a nice pool of really cool stuff. And the things that they're good at, or even just remotely good at. I mean, even if you're somebody that I have a really excellent gun collection. I didn't even think about this, and I'm probably going to make another certificate. So I take these guys sage rat hunting. Their favorite part is they're getting to shoot all these guns that they've never even dreamt of or seen. So then I'm like, well, I could take people out on just a shooting trip, take them out, and it's like, these are guns that they've never even seen in their life. And guys that are gun enthusiasts, they'll pay big money for stuff like that. And it's just, there's all kinds of things that people have like that in their life that they're not thinking about, that everybody else would really love to just have an experience with. And if you can come up with those, they're very valuable. Classic car people, you know, somebody like Josh showing them how to do a classic car tune-up or detail, or do a detail for somebody, or give somebody a, you know, you just need to think about everything you're good at and passionate about. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if there would be a market for this, but a timeshare at Eagle Crest?
Oh, yeah.
A weekend
Yeah.
timeshare,
Yep.
would people buy that?
They love it. We've done great with those.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Destination packages
Yep.
do really well.
And it's
Okay.
nice to market to those people. We in the past have sent out letters to different groups, and at one time Katie Mercer was doing that. I don't think we've done it in a couple years, but there was a whole group of people that we sent out letters to, and a lot of them were very responsive. A lot of these places like the casinos and whatnot that are probably struggling a little bit more, I bet they'd throw out more than they would have in the past, because I bet they're not getting as many people right now. But I could be wrong about that too.
Another idea is, again, this isn't my talent, but offering a gourmet dinner,
Yeah.
where you go to somebody's house, prepare a dinner for
Yeah.
4 or 6. Those
Mhm.
things have.
Well, and if you're really good at cooking a certain
Yeah.
thing, I've gotten really amazing at a couple dishes. And if you're really good at something like that and you offered a cooking class on teaching somebody that, I mean, anything you're good at, literally just go through your life and go, oh, I'm good at, yeah, let's make a certificate.
Building semiconductor factories.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Creating blueprints for or whatever, being
Yeah.
a consultant. Just don't overcommit yourself if you'd be doing that for a year for somebody for a $400 certificate.
So silent auction items, who do we contact? You?
Heather or myself, either way.
Heather,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Josh Werner's got a lead on a bike to be raffled.
Oh.
Mhm.
Have you heard about that?
Yeah, an e-bike that we're going to end up, we're doing a separate raffle for that we're going to start in advance.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to do well on that, because if we just run the numbers on this is how many tickets we sell and blah, blah, you know, we'll be able to
Don't close
sell
the
all those
raffle till you
tickets.
sell the tickets,
Exactly.
you know,
We'll be
yeah.
able to sell that many tickets, no problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, anybody have any more questions about Oktoberfest? All right, we're going to move on to membership. Can anybody in the room tell me how many members that we have acquired in the last year?
Points after.
I guess 14.
Yeah, so It's 16. And hopefully, Holly's just put in an application, so here we go with 17. It's kind of funny that we're talking about membership when it seems like we're doing so well in our recruiting of members, but we can always do more. And so I use a tool, and it's actually, I use it for development, for when I'm trying to see who in the community does Rimrock Trails need to be in front of. So I use a tool with my board and my community engagement teams, because when I say, hey, who do you think we should be in front of?
Hey, I forgot to say one thing and I gotta run.
Yeah.
Remember, meeting tomorrow at E-Bar and Grill, 5 p.m. Please come if you can for planning meeting for Oktoberfest.
So I do it because I'll do my board or my community engagement team says, you know, Michelle, I'd like to talk more about Rimrock Trails, but I don't know anybody. And I say, oh, but you do. And so I've adapted this little survey that you have in front of you. It's called the Who Do You Know Survey. And it is just to get your juices thinking. Go through it really quickly. But who do you hang out with socially? What 3 businesses do you spend the most money at? 3 professionals that you use: a doctor, accountant, lawyer, somebody in the trades, a plumber. Name 3 people who you know from church or an organization that you are part of. I know a lot of us have not just Kiwanis, but we're involved in many organizations. Who has a heart for kids and would like to be in our group? Name your top 3 places you hang out. And then again, who should Kiwanis be in front of? Someone in your life who has a heart for children and bettering the Redmond community. Someone in your life that wants to get more involved in the community. You know, especially with COVID and the isolation that COVID caused, there's a lot of people that were shut in that want to get back out there, but they're a little bit nervous on how. And Kiwanis is a great place to come, have a meeting with friendly, good people who want to better the community. So when you think of these people, think of who could I invite? You know, you're not doing a hard sale. You don't want to say, become a member today. Come see what the meeting's all about. See if it's a good fit. For some people it will be a good fit, and for some people it won't, and that's okay. We have 63 members on our roster right now. It's very strong, but as you guys know, about 30 are actually participate. And so we'd really like to get more people involved and being more involved in the club and in our different committees. And the more people we have involved, the more things we can do in the community. Right now we're limited to what we can do, so to get more people involved, we'd be able to do more community service. So, does anyone have any questions around that? That's just a fun exercise to get thinking about things. Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to move on then to speakers. This is near and dear to my heart. We've had some really great speakers over the last year. Ron Hagen is going to be taking over, I believe, or should be taking over as getting speakers for the following year. And it's really important that we hear not just from the board on who they want to hear from, but we hear from the entire club who you want to hear from. So can anybody think of, just in this room, let's just throw out some speakers that you want to hear of. What's happening in the community that you'd like better explained or to know more about? Yes, Carl.
What's happening with the library? We know what's happening in Bend, but what's happening in Redmond?
Yes. So we actually, I just spoke with she and I are doing emails right now, so we should have her in October come speak to us.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Ask and ye shall receive.
Yes.
What about our PUD,
A what?
our local electrical services?
Central Oregon Electric.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
Dave
So
Martin.
what about it?
So,
I mean, what would you want to?
they keep talking about having the lowest rate service. Let's see where the rate service is coming from, what their plans are to improve the connections, things of that nature. That would just be interesting to know what's going on. You got your Central Oregon Light, whatever that's called, in the last couple of weeks that came in. All kinds of little things like that that might be interesting.
Another question is with, as Redmond is the fastest growing city in Oregon at 17% with 4,000 new members coming in a year. So how is the bandwidth, how is the grid going to be able to support that kind of increase? Yeah.
Probably need to get Clifford Eagle in here and talk about the rec center. They're gonna float a proposal for another bond to build a rec center.
Is that the one with Katie Hammer, or the Parks and Rec?
She might be, I'm not sure who, but
Yeah.
Clifford Eagle, the counselor, is doing most of the.
Oh, Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff,
He'd be
yeah.
happy to come talk.
He's a city councilor too, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, he'd be a great person to come in. Yes, Dave?
Speaking of Clifford, might want to try having his wife come in to describe new priorities
Oh, yes.
facilities.
New priorities. They're a counseling clinic here in
Oh.
town. Yes.
Yeah, I have a card I got at the National Night Out. Reach Out Oregon, have we had them as parent and caregiver support line for parents of kids with disabilities?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Does anybody remember Reach Out?
But anyway, I'll give you the card. And then also Redmond Collective Action, they feed the homeless on 17th and Greenwood and also gather supplies like needed things, batteries, razors, whatever. And so Redmond Collective Action, they're partly political, but they're partly not political, and that part is the feeding the homeless. And it's really interesting how they gather all these volunteers together to go out there and do it.
Okay. Also, one more thing, I know with the elections coming up, we're working right now with REA and Rotary Club. Rather than having the candidates do the circuit where they come to Rotary, where they come to Kiwanis, where they come to REA, they would like to come together, have us all come together as a forum. And I think they're talking about maybe doing it in the Ridgeview Heights auditorium and having the discussions, where we're all together versus just having them be worn out by the circuit. So that's because usually we do have all of the mayoral candidates, all of the commissioners. Yeah, Don.
Well, while we're on the political idea, I think it's really appropriate that we send a blanket letter out to all of our congressional delegates that service us here in Central Oregon, so that when they're out in the circuit, out in the community, that they know when we meet. It always looks good on their resumes to be able to say that they talked to Kiwanis. But bottom line is that if they're in the territory and they've got a slot at noon on Wednesday, we've got a perfect spot for them to meet some
That's a great idea.
So these are national level.
Kind of speaking about the growing population in the grid, what about like the city planning commission, just in general, what are the urban plans?
Yeah, we have them in every year, and I don't think
Okay,
we've had them in for a while.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a great one to have back in. Yeah.
We've been having Betty in for at least a couple of years, talking about Jericho backpack. It doesn't really, they don't fill backpacks anymore, but it's still a student food program. And I have a name of a contact and phone number that I can give to you, and then you can schedule it, contact that person.
Yeah, and just going off of what Roland's saying, when you do want a speaker, so you're sending it to me now. I won't be that person after, I think, October 1st, is it? But make sure you don't just send a name. Like, try to send an email address or a phone number. It makes it a lot easier than that person having to research and try to figure it out. So you can just send a name, but it would be really helpful to have the other information.
Well, and I ran across this individual at a coffee clatter. She works with employment education counseling for increasing career opportunities for military personnel. So it seemed like that group on that particular day had not really heard much about this or were aware of, this service. So that's why I thought it would be a good potential to have her come and share about what they do. That's great. I got a flyer on it.
I wish Ellen Unger were here to mention this, but we're working with child care. And it's an absolute mess from the top down to the child care desert where we live. I don't know who to suggest to come, but I think Alan may have a good suggestion.
Yeah, we'll talk to him, I agree. It's a huge topic. Yeah. And all of the candidates are talking about it, their targets. All right, anybody else, guys? Or, even if you think of something later, just send it off, send me an email, and I'm pretty good about getting back scheduled pretty quickly, so. Roland has given me quite a few names, and that's been really helpful. Okay, so now we get to the fun stuff. We have just a few more minutes to talk, you guys, and then we'll go enjoy the fair. But the board meetings and other smaller conversations, we've talked about, we used to do socials together. We used to have picnics as families and do kinds of things so that our spouses could meet one another, or we could meet one another's kids. As you guys know, Danny and Olivia have been ingrained in Kiwanis since they were babies, and that made them really want to serve later in life and to be in the Key Club and do those kinds of things. And so, but it's so important that our kids get to see what we're doing. And so we thought, what about some socials, like some picnics or things that we could do together, go to the lake together, those kinds of things. Does anybody, first of all, is the club interested in doing those kinds of activities together? We don't want to spend too much time if it's not of interest. Yeah. And any ideas? Are there any things that you guys remember that we used to do that we haven't done, Carl, for a while? Looking to Carl and Dan.
One of the ideas that I had was the music on the green, right? Just take a banner and say we're going to be here, and so if you're coming by yourself or with your partner or something, then it's like, well, let's just go find the Kiwanis banner and we can just at least sit there and don't do anything, don't sell anything, don't be. It's to gather and sit and enjoy the music together.
Just together.
I mean,
Well, I like that idea, but the only thing is, the last time I was there, in order to talk, you had to shout. You can't really talk. Socialize.
Yeah, but you socialize before and after the music. I don't know. I haven't been to one. But
well, on the music on the green, we could rent out the pavilion, or reserve the pavilion, and then that way we're all together, and then people could go over and watch the music.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe have something to eat.
Yes.
What a novel idea.
We could bring the Kiwanis Traeger down and get hamburgers and hot dogs, right?
Yeah.
No, we're back to what we did before.
But not sell, but just
what stopped us before was we broke even only. We never made any money on the food.
But this would be social and not a fundraiser.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, this idea, so, don't overcomplicate it, I guess, or, people want to volunteer, make it a potluck, I don't know.
I don't think we need to bring the Traeger down. That's a chore. We have a mobile grill that we use for the green thing. So John and I could do that.
Okay.
So what would get my husband out of his easy chair might be an evening at a restaurant. There's a big section of the restaurant reserved for us.
Yeah.
And have a meal together.
Madeline's has that room. It's kind of small, though, maybe for a big group.
But I'm thinking, Red Martini used to open one day when they were normally closed. They were just open for some group. And I attended a couple of those, and it was pretty sweet. But
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
and it involves food.
Yeah.
I thought she'd never have mentioned it.
One of the clubs I was at, was there before, we had a pig roast.
Oh,
And we had a meeting in the evening. You invited potential members, new members, and you roasted a pig, put it in the ground, roasted it all day long, and then you had this meal at night. And had some entertainment with it. It was a little more involved, but It's a way of doing something different and doing it at a time when everybody could be there.
Yeah, potluck and everybody brings something along with or potluck or something.
We provide it, well, it depends how you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, these are all really good ideas.
The other thing, we had the coaches and the general manager from the indoor football league come, and maybe we go to football
And a
game
football
together.
game, that would be really fun.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We could tailgate before the Redmond,
Oh, yeah.
and you know, go someplace and just tailgate before one of the football games here locally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and the Elks is always fun to go to. It's a little bit harder because it's in Bend, but still it's a fun. We got like a block of tickets so we can sit together. All right, guys, these are great ideas. Keep them coming. You know, so what we're going to do with these, if anybody's been in one of these meetings where you do the brainstorming sessions, then you take those sheets, thank you, and you give it, you know, and then you break it down and really categorize it, list these things, because often this is what always happens is we have great ideas, but they never come to fruition. So now we have them, and we'll take them to the board, we'll put these into some categories and start working on some of these ideas. And what it's going to mean is the board can't do it all, right? So we're going to have to form committees to you know, Josh will announce, hey, we need the social committee, and we're going to need volunteers from the membership, you know, to be on this committee to put some of these ideas together. But we have the ideas now, and that's the first point. Thank you guys for being here today and humoring me with my cashier and presidency all in one today. And also, I hope if you get a chance, go enjoy the fair. It's so much fun, and there's so much to see. And Carl and Dan have entered wines this year.
Yeah,
so.
except the wine judge has no sense of palate at all.
So you'll be here.
Does that mean you didn't win?
I didn't win.
Well,
But there's
Dan,
now a
maybe
wine
you need-
tasting, so.
Dan, maybe you need to bring the wine here for us to taste to make sure
Okay.
that.
Let us be the
Yeah,
judge.
oh, yeah.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order, guys? Oh, yes, Ann, please.
Our group breakfast Sunday,
Yes.
this Sunday, I think it opens at 6. I know
6
I'm
to
gonna be
10.
there 5:30. And
At the fair.
push the garbage pickup.
At the fairground.
as usual. But it's a tradition, I think it's 79 or 80 years it's been going now. And it's great fun, you should come.
If you haven't been there where the main gate is to the fair, don't go in the main gate, but to the left of it, next to the administrative office, there's an area there. You'll see the line of people
Yeah,
if you're there, 7, 8 o'clock.
And it's a big breakfast.
All you can eat of everything.
Yeah.
It's greasy.
It's very good.
John's looking forward to it.
It's low cholesterol.
Speaking of which, Saturday they're having a work party, August 7th, August, wait a minute.
Sunday.
Well, it said 10 a.m., August 6th, August 6th.
What's
So,
all good?
Who is?
The breakfast,
Oh, the Buckner.
they still need people.
Okay, I'm going to close this out, guys. Do I say anything to close this out or just ding?
I'm just gonna ring the bell.
Okay, make it official.